Hello, this is Tom, aka Gedeon here for Fanzine Friday, and we are reviewing Frontier Explorer number 33, and we might as well get right to it. Okay, first off, this is a special cover. I know I always go, I really love this cover. Oh, it's one of my favorite covers. I know I say that all the time. This cover, I love this cover, not so much for the content, but how I got it. You see, Oscar Rios came to me and says, I commissioned this picture. Do you want to use it for a cover? He paid an artist to make this picture, and then he gave it to me as a cover. And as a magazine editor, as the content editor for the Frontier Explorer, you gotta love that. You absolutely have to love that. In that moment, like, Oscar Rios became one of my favorite Star Frontiersmen. So this picture, just to let you know, this is actually done by Aaron O'Brien, who's one of our regular artists who's supported the fanzines for I don't even know how long he's been doing art for the fanzines. So again, one of my favorite artists. And this picture is from Oscar's game that he was running, set in Solar Minor. And these are all the player characters in that game. And this is a moment from that game. And Oscar, commissioned this to be done. And I'm like, so grateful that he did that. And so to me, this is such an awesome picture. And this is great. You get a great mix of the Frontier characters. You have the core four plus an Oscar in there. And absolutely fantastic. And clearly they have killed a quick death. And they're they're doing the whole string it up by the neck, like when you hang a shark and you stand by it and get your picture taken. So this is absolutely a cool picture. And I just love that outfit that the Verska's wearing. Okay, just so weird and colorful. And then the Oscar, known for wearing weird clothing. What's he wearing? Or excuse me, what's she wearing? A Hawaiian shirt and a fez. I mean, how weird is that? Absolutely fantastic interpretation by Aaron O'Brien. It doesn't get any better than this. So next up in the magazine here, first article is a blast from the past, something I rescued from the lost internet, Solar Sails, and this is written by Andrew Campbell, another great Star Frontiersman. And I love this article on Solar Sails. Now, I just want to point out, the perception was the Solar Sails were not useful for interstellar travel. That is quite wrong. If you look at this table, and let me see if I can blow this up. Okay. If you look at this table, the place in the star system where you start from determines your ADF. So if you're by Mercury using a solar sail, your ADF is going to be a speed of 7. That is better than an atomic drive assault scout. Okay, that's killer right there. If you were Snowball, that is one of the that's the planet that's featured in War Machine, the War Machine module. So if you were there at 0.5 AU, that would be an ADF of 4. If you were starting in the orbit area of Venus, Inner Reach, Clarion, Liberty Systems, Asteroid Belt, you would have an ADF of 2. So these are very high ADFs, and you only have to reach a speed of 180 hexes per turn. 180 hexes in a 10-minute Nighthawk's turn for jump speed to make an interstellar jump. So you could, and it might actually, like, if you were leaving the orbit of, say, Earth or Outer Reach or Dramune, Outer Reach in the Dramune system, it might actually be smarter to tack your solar sails and head towards the star, then turn around and now we're headed out. It might actually be faster to reach jump speed that way. But this is definitely, I consider, a very viable propulsion system alternative to be used in Nighthawks. Next up, we get the Versk name generator. Oscar Rios combed through all of the modules for all of the Versk names and broke them down into this table. It is a 3D10 table. You're going to roll 3D10, add the results, and you're going to do that 3 times, and it will get you a Versk name. And there's so it's a 1-page article, easy to use, and I highly recommend that. Thanks, Oscar, for doing that. That was a service to the frontier. First Contact Team RPG and Sci-Fi Facility Generator. So I was doing a lot of reviews for the Frontier Explorer during this time period, and I took a look at this First Contact Team RPG and reviewed it. I thought it was really interesting. It had some really interesting scenarios, and so I gasped back about that. And then this Sci-Fi Facility Generator by DiceGeeks.com. I downloaded this from DriveThru, and I walk through using it and show you what this will do, because it's a very simple product, and they don't charge you much at all. I only paid 97 cents for it because it was on sale, but it's normally like $1.25. It's not even coffee money. So I walk you through using it and the results. And in the process, I ended up creating a creature for the frontier called the Genetically Engineered Cat, GEC. And the genetically engineered cat uses gecko genes as part of the genetic engineering. So does the gecko cat or the zero-G cat or the space cat. And this is a really fun creature, particularly to have as a ship's cat or an adventure pet that maybe the game master will run, because cats are really just so independent and such a pain in the neck that I thought this could be fun. And so this is very much a fun option for your game. And Citizens of the Frontier is an updated old school Star Frontier's actual play campaign. Oscar was doing this actual play and doing kind of a critical role type of thing. And then I actually sat in on one of his games and was like he told the players I was just sitting in as just to sit in and observe. And then but he'd already handed me an NPC, and I began ranting that NPC about halfway through the adventure. So that was his actual live play. Radiation Hazards in the Frontier Part 2. This is the Part 2 article to Joseph Cabadas's work. And this is really good. This it covers radiation protection, environmental suits, anti-rad implant, the in-suit. This is canon. It's from the Nighthawks Starship Engineers toolkit, but it doesn't have an independent price. So he's given it an independent price and an established, if you heard that bark, that was the dog outside. And then, there's some anti-radiation drugs here. And then last, he even covers the shielded spacesuit and the fighter suit. And then what was really fascinating, I thought here, he covers nuclear weapon strikes, radiation in space, sunspot, solar storm, solar flares, corona mass ejections, solar activity and characters, Nighthawks activities, weatherization sealers, radiation exposure malfunction chart, malfunctions in equipment due to radiation exposure. But eventually you get down here to new medical gear, the radiation treatment kit, standard and radiation treatment kit deluxe. Absolutely fantastic material. So you could have a whole hazardous environment going on. And I love hazardous environments. They affect everybody, NPCs, player characters, and it becomes something you have to deal with in a tactical situation. I absolutely love that. Psychic PSA for Star Frontiers RPG. I wrote this. Now you're going to say, why, Tom, don't we already have mentalism rules in the Zeb's guide? Yes, we do. I do not like the mentalism rules in the Zeb's Guide, and I don't like them for two particular reasons. There was some really fantasy stuff like teleportation. It just felt a little too fantasy. I wanted a more sciencey feel, even though psychic powers are space magic. Yeah, I know. I just wanted a little more veneer of sciencey feel to it. But also, I wanted a more unified rules mechanic for it. So what you get with this article is you get a unified rules mechanic. So like the range for psychic skills is a particular mechanic and it applies to all of them. You just learn the mechanic, you apply it to all the psychic skills. It's not each skill works differently than the next, which is what you get with Zeb's Guide. Damage by psychic skills. It's a unified field theory mechanic, and it applies to all psychic skills that do damage of any type. And so duration, one duration mechanic for all psychic skills. Area effect, ability saves, it's all the same no matter what it is. And so you learn these rules and then you just apply. They just all apply. And some psychic skills don't have an area of effect, so you ignore that. But if you need to know the area effect of a psychic skill, you use that one mechanic. And that's why I wrote this particular article. To one, strip out things like teleportation that I didn't really like, and try to have something that I would use in my game, because I wouldn't use Zebulon's Guide as it is written. So, and then I think we just recycled some artwork from different things that we had. And, it's just a great little article. That one, Brian Fulton did this one. I love this verse, exercising psychic power. Is kind of cool. And this is a recycle of an illustration I did. And telepathy in animals, telepathy with sapience, psychic equipment. So at the very end, did some psychic equipment. I did a table of all of the psychic equipment that had been created in the fan magazines. So if you're looking for, I think I remember this thing. Here's the table, tells you where it is. But we went ahead and included cost in this table and mass. So if you're looking to just have a psychic character and you want to buy some psychic equipment and pay for it, something cheap, maybe you might be able to afford, like these Volturnian side crystals, tiny, only 50 credits, no weight, and they're in Frontier Explorer number 19. So handy. Here's an ad for Titan Rising, $22.99. New episodes returning soon. And Solar Miner System Brief. Oscar Rios again. His game that he commissioned the beautiful cover art for, that he probably wrote that verse name generator for, was set in Solar Miner. And he wrote this great brief pulling together all of the canon details that we had in existence in any canon source for Solar Miner, and then expanded upon that. And he did a fabulous job. I love his work. And so this is a great system brief for Solar Miner, and with ideas about running adventures here. And then Mysteries of the Frontier. I am a sucker for mystery shows. I love those TV shows that are applying science to the investigation of something like Bigfoot or Loch Ness Monster. Not the yahoos out in the woods banging on a tree with a stick and woo, doing, and then you hear way in the distance, ooh, it was a Sasquatch. Ooh. None of that. But like where they're using infrared cameras and trail cams, and they're trying to apply science investigation to these mysteries. Or like a Curse of Oak Island, where there's real attempts at real science and trying to solve the mystery, and not just wahoos in the woods drinking beer and making noise. So I'm a sucker for that, and I wrote this Mysteries of the Frontier. This is a 2D10 table. So you have 19 mysteries here. Some of these are canon. Some of these I had already created, and I'll use that on this table. But you get this discussion like this, a lost colony of Xanadu. The frontier needs a lost colony. Absolutely. So wrote that up. Dancing Plague of Rupert's Hole. This is actually inspired by something that happened in the real world long ago. And I just said, well, what would that have looked like in the frontier? And I wrote it up, this mystery. And the armored drolocytes of Groth, another mystery. We don't know how this genetic mutation came about and why it happened to these few so I just the Tetrarch Rosetta Stone. In the real world, we had this mystery of Egyptian hieroglyphics, and it was not solved until they found a Rosetta Stone. Well, the Tetrarchs are a society from their ruins exist, and they're a society from 10,000 years ago. We're not going to be able to read their writing. You're going to need a Rosetta Stone. And so I just invented Tetrarch Rosetta Stone. And that could be a mystery in your frontier. The Lost Pangal Regiment of Laco. When the first Sathar War happened, you didn't have a UPF. You didn't, you had a second common muster. All these planets and corporations started raising regiments to fight the Sathar to save the frontier. And so I just envisioned that Pangal had raised a regiment, but it had disappeared on Laco. That's a mystery. So I talk about that a little bit here. The Shroud of Yazm, inspired by the Shroud of Turin. I just absolutely fascinated by the Shroud of Turin. What happened to the Imperial Warhound of Yazira? That is something I created quite a while back, actually, and that's a good mystery. We should include that. How far did the Honora exploration ships travel before encountering the Sathar? Great question. I have mused about this numerous times. The Tetrarch Pyramids and Ruins. Canon mystery. What happened to Sectite Zebulon and his crew? This is based off information in the Volturnus Connection Dragon Magazine article. And a manufacturer of the Nora Solar Lantern, that was something I created. It is a mystery how it was manufactured, so that could be something players could encounter and research. Lost Journal of Captain Leonine. Captain Leonine was the starship captain of one of the ships that came to Clarion, and he became the founder of the Leonine dynasty on Clarion, the monarchy. And so I just wrote up a little mystery involving that. The Centauri jump route. Now, this one, in my setting, Earth exists. That is not canon. If you're a purist like my friend Jess Carver, you'd be like, whoops. So change this, or just roll again and ignore that. But Earth exists in my setting. Treasure map of Hatziknar, famous pirate. He's got to have a treasure. Pirates hide treasure. They have maps. Got to have one. That can be a very fun adventure. Drolocyte Ripper. The Drolocyte Ripper mystery is a fusion of Jack the Ripper and Silence of the Lambs. And how could you not have fun with that? You could just have a player character, and the player character's thing is their hobby is researching the Drolocyte Ripper. And that's just their thing. And the game master doesn't even have to pick up that little thread for an adventure. It could just be the thing, and maybe the character ships got shot up so bad and they can't get a berth in the Starship Construction Center to get their ship repaired. And so it's going to take like 3 months for them to get a berth, to get the ship repaired, to do it. Even might as well do an overhaul while we're at it. That's going to take time. So it's 3 months. You can specify, you're just going to hand wave 3 months. Well, the player can say, well, my character is going to lock himself in a cabin on the space station and work on writing a book on the Drolocyte Ripper. And so you could, roll a logic check and see how well he does, have him attempt to sell it to a publishing house. He might make 10,000 credits to sell his book and get it published. And then later on, Starplay might approach him and say, hey, we'd like to license that for a holodrama. So you can have a little bit of fun with that. And it doesn't even have to lead to adventure, but it certainly could. It certainly could be something that leads to an adventure. These are all great possible plot hooks. And so we'll just move on now. The Battlesuit by Jerry Boucher. This is a great little article about battlesuits, which kind of fit somewhere between a sky suit and power armor. They're not, this is not full on necessarily power armor, but it's not a sky suit. It's so if you're running a more military campaign, this piece of equipment item fits a nice niche for that. And so great little article, not too long, easy to read. And then Dying for a Drink. This is my In the Minzy Marketplace, where I introduce a few new equipment items, a little piece of fiction here and to introduce it. And basically, this is about a draw-a-sight tourist who runs afoul of some contaminated water on Volturnus, and a Volturnian ranger has to go out and look for him because he's missing, and finds him, and he's, so you get this little piece of fiction and introduction of some equipment, and it's a one-page article. Then next up, we had been really pushing after the 2018 Evil Hat trademark squatting affair, where Evil Hat tried to squat on the trademark for Star Frontiers, not unlike some other people we could name have attempted to do that recently. We started diversifying the Frontier Explorer into other RPGs that were of the same ilk as Star Frontiers. And so this is a series of traveler articles that we're about to get here. The Dawn Class Exploration Transport, done by Richard Rose, aka Shadow Shack. And this is a change up. This is a reimagining of the Serena Dawn as a traveler starship. Great resource if you play Traveler. And then he wasn't done, because Richard is pretty cool. He did this Escaping the SS Serena Dawn, a sample scenario utilizing the Dawn class exploration transport for Traveler. So you get some Traveler content inspired by the classic Star Frontiers module, Crash on Volturnus. And it takes you right up to that point where you have reach the planet's surface in the module. You can then go in a different direction or continue to riff off of the Crash on Volturnus module, whatever you desire. And then we get to Grimm's Guide, Grimm's Fourth Wall Break for the escape plan. Oh, no, my bad. This is a Grimm's Fourth Wall Break, and the escape plan will be returning soon in the next issue. Frontier Explorer, issue 33, great issue. Not a lot of content in there from me, but great stuff from Oscar Rios and Richard Rose, Jerry Boucher, everybody who contributed. Great issue. I absolutely loved working on this issue. Love the artwork we have in here. Both Aaron and Jerry, a little bit of mine's in there. So fantastic. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my subscribers. You guys are great. And I will see you in the Frontier.